2025 CSLB Contractors, License Law and Business, Questions and Answers. Part 1. Buy, Paint Thinner Gang. 1. What is the minimum bond amount required for a contractor license in California? C. $25,000. 2. What is the first-time penalty for acting as a contractor without a license in California? B. It is a misdemeanor for first offense with up to. 3. What does CSLB issue to a contractor for a minor violation as a warning? C. Notice of correct notice. 4. How long are citations against licensed contractors disclosed to the public? C. 5 years. 5. What is the maximum allowable down payment for a home improvement contract in California? B. $1,000 or 10% of the contract price, whichever is less. 6th. Home improvement contracts must include which of the following? Contractor's information, name, address, and license number of the contractor. Homeowner's information, name and address of the property owner. Description of work, detailed scope of work, materials, and equipment to be used. Total contract price, the agreed-upon price for the entire project. Down payment. Must follow the $1,000 or 10% rule, whichever is less. Payment schedule. Clearly defined stages of payment. Approximate start and completion dates. Expected timeline of the project. Mechanics lien warning. Explanation of homeowners' rights regarding liens. Notice of right to cancel. Homeowners have 3 business days to cancel without penalty. CSLB notice. A statement informing homeowners about the CSLB and how to check a contractor's license. 7. Which business structure provides liability protection similar to a corporation but has different tax treatment? B. Limited Liability Company, LLC. 8. What type of bond guarantees both job completion and payment of all labor and materials? A performance and payment bond guarantees both job completion and payment of all labor and materials. Remember that a performance bond ensures that the contractor completes the project as agreed, and a payment bond guarantees that subcontractors, suppliers, and laborers are paid. 9. What is the minimum liability insurance required for a limited liability company, LLC, with 5 or fewer personnel? B. $1 million. 10. What is the purpose of a disciplinary bond for contractors? B. To protect the public by ensuring that the contractor fulfills their obligations and complies with regulations if they are allowed to resume work. 11. What agency is responsible for licensing and regulating contractors in California? B. Contractors State License Board, CSLB. 12. What is the main purpose of the Contractors State License Board? B. To protect consumers by regulating the construction industry. 13. Which of the following violations could lead to a contractor's license suspension? E. All of the above. 14. Which license classification requires workers' compensation insurance, even if the contractor has no employees? C39 Roofing, C8 Concrete, C20 HVAC, C22 Asbestos Abatement, and D49 Tree Service. 15. What is the role of the Statewide Investigative Fraud Team, SWIFT? B. To investigating and combating unlicensed contracting and construction-related fraud. 16. What is the maximum civil penalty CSLB can impose for serious violations? D. $30,000. 17. What is the first step CSLB takes when a complaint is filed against a licensed contractor? C. Review the complaint to determine if it falls under CSLB jurisdiction. 18. What is required of a home improvement salesperson, HIS, before they begin working? C. Registration and issuance of a registration number by CSLB and be associated by a licensed contractor. 19. Which business entity allows its owners to report income as personal income while enjoying limited liability? D. LLC by using the pass-through taxation of a sole proprietorship. 20. What type of bond is mandatory for all licensed contractors in California? C. Contractor's License Bond. 21. What is the purpose of a mechanics lien? C. To ensure payment for labor or materials used in a project. 22. What is the penalty for failing to secure workers' compensation insurance for employees? D. All of the above. 23. What financial statement summarizes a company's assets, liabilities, and equity? C. Balance sheet. 24. Under California law, how long does a homeowner have to cancel a home improvement contract if they are over 65 years old? C. 5 business days without penalty or obligation. 25. What is the penalty for subsequently multiple offenses acting as a contractor without a license in California? Subsequent offenses. Stricter penalties, including a mandatory 90-day jail sentence and a fine of 20% of the contract price, or $5,000, whichever is greater. 26. How often must a contractor renew their license in California? B. Every 2 years. 27. What type of insurance is mandatory for all limited liability companies, LLCs, in California? B. Commercial general liability insurance valued at $1 million. 28. What is the term percentage of completion method refer to in accounting for contractors? B. Method of recognizing revenue and expenses on long-term construction projects based on the progress of the project. Revenue is recognized proportionally as the work is completed, rather than waiting until the entire project is finished. 29. What is the monetary fine for an unlicensed contractor acting as a contractor in California? C. $200 and up to $15,000. 30. What must a contractor disclose to a homeowner if they do not carry commercial general liability insurance? C. They must notify the homeowner in writing. 31. What is the primary role of the CSLB Registrar of Contractors? C. Enforcing contractor licensing laws and disciplinary actions. 32. How many classifications of contractor licenses does CSLB regulate? B. Over 40. 33. In California, which type of contractor is required to carry a $100,000 surety bond in addition to the $25,000 contractor bond? C. Limited Liability Company, LLC. 34. What is the statute of limitations for filing a complaint about a contractor's home improvement contract violation? C. 4 years. 35. What must contractors provide before starting any home improvement work? B. A copy of the signed and dated contract. 36. When does the CSLB disclose accusations that result in license suspension? C. From the date the accusation is officially filed and for 5 years after settlement. 37. What is the penalty for a contractor who uses false or deceptive advertising? D. Disciplinary action by CSLB, such as a misdemeanor charge, fine up to $2,500, possible license suspension or revocation. 38. How are complaints against unlicensed contractors processed by CSLB? Review and verify the complaint to confirm the individual is operating without a license. Refer the case to the Statewide Investigative Fraud Team, SWIFT. SWIFT may conduct undercover sting operations or site inspections to gather evidence. If violations are confirmed, the CSLB can issue citations, fines, and even criminal charges, as unlicensed contracting is a misdemeanor in California. 39. What happens if a contractor violates probation terms set by the CSLB? B. Their license is suspended or revoked, fines or penalties, possible legal action. 40. What document must a contractor file with CSLB if they do not have employees and wish to avoid workers' compensation insurance? B. A certificate of workers' compensation exemption. 41st. Which method of accounting allows contractors to report income and expenses only when the project is completed? C. Completed contract method. 42. What is a joint control agreement in a home improvement contract? C. An arrangement where a neutral third party, usually a joint control company or escrow agent, manages the homeowner's funds and releases payments to the contractor only as specific project milestones are completed. 43. What type of insurance is required by law for contractors with employees? B. Workers' compensation insurance. 44. Which type of bond guarantees the payment of labor and materials on a project? B. Payment bond. 45. What must be included in a home improvement contract's description of work? A clear and detailed scope of work. Materials to be used, type, grade, quantity, etc. Specific tasks or improvements to be completed. Location of the work, e.g., kitchen, exterior, etc. Any plans, drawings, or specifications relevant to the project. 46. When must a contractor notify CSLB of a change in their business address? C. Within 90 days. 47. What does a contractor need to provide for work requiring a permit? B. Proof of the required permit and inspection approvals. 48. When does the Contractors State License Board, CSLB, sends a renewal notice before the license expires? 60 days. 49. What is the primary goal of construction safety regulations? B. To protect workers from injury, illness, and death, and to ensure safe working environments. 50. Who can file a complaint against a contractor with CSLB? D. Any entity, including homeowners, consumers, contractors, employees, suppliers, gov agencies, or concerned members of the public. 51. What is the primary purpose of a performance bond? B. To guarantee completion of the project according to terms and conditions of the contract, and to be financially protected by covering the costs to another contractor to finish a project. 52nd. How often must a contractor renew their workers' compensation exemption with CSLB? B. Every time they renew their license, aka 2 years. 53. What is the first step a contractor must take when forming a corporation? C. File articles of incorporation with the California Secretary of State. 54. What happens if a contractor fails to renew their license within 5 years of expiration? B. License becomes void, and they must reapply for a new license and meet all current requirements. 55. What must contractors disclose to homeowners regarding mechanics liens? B. The homeowner's liability if a lien is filed for unpaid debts from themselves or from the contractor not paying, subs, workers, material supplies, etc. 56. Which entity enforces California's construction safety standards? C. Cal OSHA, Division of Occupational Safety and Health. 57. How can a contractor dispute a citation issued by CSLB? 1. Filing a notice of appeal in writing within 15 days of receiving the citation. 2nd. Requesting either, first, an informal citation conference, or 2. A formal administrative hearing before an administrative law judge. If no appeal is filed within the 15-day window, the citation becomes final and enforceable. 58. What is the minimum print size for text in a home improvement contract? B. 10-point type. 59th. Who is responsible for ensuring all required permits are obtained for a construction project? C. The contractor. 60. What must be included in a contractor's license application? Personal and business information, name, address, entity type. Classification requested, e.g., C33 painting. Designated qualifying individual, QI, with experience documentation. Proof of work experience, at least 4 years journey level or equivalent. Application fee, live scan fingerprinting, for background check. Proof of contractor bond, workers' compensation insurance or exemption form. Legal disclosures, if applicable. Prior convictions, disciplinary actions, etc. 61. Which financial statement shows a company's revenue and expenses over a specific period? C. Income statement. 62. What is the main purpose of a payment schedule in a home improvement contract? B. Clearly outline when and how much the homeowner will pay the contractor as specific work is completed. 63. What is a stop notice in the context of construction projects? C. A lien filed to prevent payment to the contractor until claims are resolved. 64. What should a contractor do if they encounter unanticipated delays in a project? Notify the client in writing as soon as possible. Explain the cause of the delay, e.g., weather, material shortage, permit issue. Provide an updated timeline and revised schedule. Document everything to protect against potential disputes or claims. 65. What is the purpose of the Statewide Investigative Fraud Team, SWIFT? B. To investigate unlicensed contractor activity and enforce compliance. 66. What type of accounting method reports income and expenses when they are earned or incurred, regardless of payment? B. Accrual basis. 67. In California, which agency must contractors contact to verify construction standards and permits? B. The local building department such as city or county. 68. Which document provides the legal description and scope of work for a construction project? C. Contract/construction agreement. 69. What is required before a subcontractor can place a lien on a property? First, serve a preliminary 20-day notice, given to the property owner, general contractor, and lender, if applicable. Must be served within 20 days of first furnishing labor, services, equipment, or materials. 2. Complete the work or supply the materials, services. The lien must be based on unpaid work or materials already provided. 3. File the mechanics line. Must be filed within 90 days after completion of the project or within 60 days after a notice of completion is filed, whichever comes first. 70. How does a contractor qualify for an LLC license in California? 1. Register the LLC with the California Secretary of State. 2. Appoint a qualifying individual who meets experience and exam requirements. 3. Submit an LLC application to the Contractors State License Board, CSLB. 4. Maintain liability insurance, minimum $1 million for 5 or fewer persons, plus $100,000 for each additional person, maximum $5 million. File a $100,000 surety bond, in addition to the $25,000 contractor bond. 6. Provide a $25,000 bond of qualifying individual, if not an owner. 7. Submit fingerprinting and background checks for all personnel. 8. Pass all required exams, unless waived. 71. What must a home improvement contract include about the project timeline? C. Start date of work and date of approximate completion. 72. What does CSLB's arbitration program aim to resolve? Complaints between contractors and consumers, such as allegations of poor workmanship, incompletion of contracted work, monetary issues related to the contract. 73. What is the penalty for a contractor failing to notify CSLB of a worker's compensation lapse? B. Revocation of license and fines. 74. What is required to renew a contractor license in California? C. Submission of renewal forms, payment of fees, workers' comp renewal, active contact bond. 75. What happens if a contractor provides false information in a license application? C. Denial, suspension, or revocation of the license, and fines, disciplinary action. 76. Who enforces penalties for contractors who fail to pay workers? D. California Labor Commissioner aka DIR/DLSE. 77. What must a contractor do when employing a home improvement salesperson, HIS? B. Notify CSLB of their employment by registering the salesperson. 78. What is the minimum age to register as a home improvement salesperson in California? C. 18 years old. 79. What must a contractor disclose about insurance to a homeowner before starting a home improvement project? C. Whether or not they carry commercial general liability insurance. 80. What is CSLB's primary method of investigating unlicensed contractor activity? C. Swift job site inspections and undercover operations. 81. How does a contractor renew a workers' compensation exemption? B. By submitting an updated exemption certificate to CSLB. 82. What type of bond protects the public and is required of all licensed contractors? D. Contractor license bond valued at $25,000. 83. What must be included in the payment schedule of a home improvement contract? C. Details specifying payments to project progress. 84. What is the maximum fine for unlicensed contractor activity in California? C. $5,000. 85. Who is responsible for ensuring construction meets state safety standards? B. The contractor. 86. What is the minimum print size for text for the right to cancel notice? 12-point type and bolded. 87. How long does a home improvement contract remain enforceable after a homeowner signs it? 4 years if written and 2 years if oral. 88. Do unlicensed contractors have the right to sue for payment not received? No. Unlicensed contractors also have no legal standing to sue for payment in court, making it risky to operate without proper licensing. 89. What is the primary purpose of a commercial general liability (CGL) insurance policy? Protect a business from financial loss due to claims of bodily injury, property damage, personal injury, or advertising injury caused by the business's operations, products, or services. In the context of a contractor, this means it covers things like a customer getting injured on the job site, damage to a client's property during the project, legal defense costs related to those claims. 90. How does CSLB verify that a contractor's workers' compensation insurance is valid? Receiving a certificate of insurance directly from the contractor's insurance company? 91. What is the primary purpose of a balance sheet? Show a snapshot of a company's financial position at a specific point in time. 92. What must be included in a home improvement contract regarding delays? A statement explaining what happens if work is delayed due to unforeseen events, including how the contractor will notify the homeowner and update the schedule. 93. How often must contractors submit financial disclosures to CSLB? Only when requested by the CSLB for investigations or audits. 94. What type of injury must be reported immediately to Cal OSHA? Any serious injury, illness, or death of an employee that occurs on the job. A serious injury or illness includes death, amputation, permanent disfigurement, loss of a body part, hospitalization, other than for observation, for more than 24 hours. Failure to report these incidents can lead to heavy penalties. 95. What does surety bond refer to in construction? A financial guarantee that a contractor will follow laws, fulfill contract obligations, and pay related parties like subcontractors and suppliers. Typically, from an independent party. 96. What must a contractor file when their workers' compensation insurance policy is canceled? A new certificate of workers' compensation insurance, if they get new coverage, or an exemption form, if they no longer have employees. 97. What is the consequence of violating the California Contractors License Law? Criminal penalties, fines, license suspension or revocation, and possible jail time. Specifically, unlicensed contracting is a misdemeanor and may result in up to 6 months in jail and a fine of up to $15,000. Licensed contractors may face citations, administrative fines, license suspension or revocation, civil lawsuits. 98. How long are accusations that result in a contractor license revocation disclosed to the public? Disclosed to the public on the CSLB website for 10 years. 99. What is the penalty for failing to post a notice to employees regarding workers' compensation? Up to $7,000 per violation, as it is considered a misdemeanor under California law. 100. What is the primary benefit of using the accrual accounting method for contractors? It provides a more accurate picture of the company's financial position by matching income and expenses to the time they are earned or incurred, not when cash changes hands.